This is Lon Winters with Graphic Elephants.
This is Jimmy Lamp.
This is Matt Vassallo with the RhinstoneWorld.com.
And you're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
And you are listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by...
My name is Terry Combs, RG, regular guy.
And Aaron Montgomery.
We're just regular guys having fun and trying to make a living in this really cool and exciting industry.
I think we all want to succeed 100% of the time.
Seek to understand before I try and make myself understood.
Bring a ton of great information.
Coming to you live from somewhere dark, dirty, and dank.
All right, well, welcome into the show. It is Friday, May 5th, 2023. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And my name's Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at oursuccessgroup.com. So, Terry, today, first and foremost, wow, it's good to be back.
Like to get the band back together.
Yeah. You know, I heard good things. I have not had a chance to catch your episode last week, but I heard really good things. So thank
awesome.
you guys for holding down the fort while I was over there at Sublimation Summit. But today, Terry, we've got a great show lined up for everybody. We've got Lori joining us, Lady MacGyver, and she's going to be talking to us about keeping peace and profitability in your home-based business and just a whole lot more. This is going to be a wide-ranging conversation, and cannot wait to talk to Lori. She's awesome, somebody you want to get to know, and I actually am excited to get to meet her face-to-face and live in person at the Start Here Academy coming up in June, Terry. So
it's right around the corner.
Little preview here for you.
Exactly. Awesome.
Yeah. So that's happening. And then, news is happening and news is still happening. So should we just dive right into that, Terry? You think we
Let's do. Yeah. It's time to get caught up with the industry.
There we go. So let's bring on Matt from Graphics Pro, and I can't wait for what Matt's got to share with us. So Eric, whenever you are ready, sir.
Hi there, Aaron, Terry, regulators. Thank you very much for having me today. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I know that my countdown to margaritas has begun, so let's not dawdle and get right in it. Let's start out with Charles River Apparel recently launched its newest give back program in collaboration with Meals on Wheels America, pledging to donate a minimum of $25,000 by the end of 2023 to the nation's leading senior organization. Titled Quilting Communities Together, the fundraiser donates 3% of net sales from the Franconia collection to support Meals on Wheels America's mission of empowering local community programs to improve health and quality of life of the seniors they serve so that no one is left hungry or isolated. In other news, Avery Dennison has signed a definitive agreement to acquire Lion Brothers, a designer and manufacturer of apparel brand embellishments. Those of you who work with the graphic vinyls, adhesive films, or laminates are likely well aware of Avery Dennison's presence in the graphics industry. This deal is expected to close in the second quarter of 2023, at which time Lion Brothers will become part of the apparel solutions business within the solutions group of Avery Dennison. Vantage Apparel has announced that it has donated its 1% for the Planet Pledge from sales of the company's Sustainable Earthwise collection to Clean Ocean Action, a nonprofit organization dedicated to protecting marine life and the ocean environment. According to Vantage Apparel, its 1% for the Planet Pledge is a commitment to reducing its environmental impact through sustainable practices and initiatives. And finally, be sure to join us at Graphics Pro Expo in Indy in June. Located in the heart of downtown Indy, GPX Indianapolis launches with a full day of education, followed by 2 days of exhibits and classes. This year's Indy show will also feature the Start Here Academy, which is a great way to learn entry-level skills and business techniques to take your next step toward success. And unlike the last trade show I attended, we promise black coffee won't cost $10 on the show floor. Be sure to visit graphics-pro-expo.com for details, or ask Aaron since he will be there. Gentlemen, back to you.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Matt
let
makes
the
it so
dogs
hard.
out.
I need to. I keep forgetting. I got to turn off my mic because I'm giggling the whole time. And he did not make reference to it. But did you guys see his name underneath there? His new name. He's renamed himself Matt GPT. All A, no I.
I did see that. That was awesome.
Yeah. I just love the fact that, not only is he bringing us great news and as far as, really good information for us to learn and understand as an industry, but certainly makes us have a lot of fun doing it. So I love Matt's sense of humor. He and I are like on that same level. So I just sit and giggle the whole time.
All right.
Well, Terry, let's say good morning to some of the regulators real quick before we dive into our next section. We've got Chuck joining us early this morning, and Rena says good morning, Aaron and Terry. Wow, can't even say my own name. I'm off 1 week and I've just lost it. But all right, we got Barb
here in a minute.
That's right. We got Barb checking in from North Central Minnesota, and Jerry. Hello. Good morning to Betty. Thank you for tuning in. I got to meet Betty in person out there at the Sublimation Summit. It was awesome to hang out with her and Rena and Lauren and everybody else that got to hang out with. So excellent. Thank you guys for tuning in. And look, it's two of my favorite guys. So I made the list. Hi, Kim Johnson. How are you? All right, Terry. Well, speaking of fun, we need a dad joke. I got this dad joke from a friend that I got to meet out there at Sublimation Summit, but I think you will share this much better than I could. So you want to bring us this dad joke?
I will. Aaron or Eric, by the way, this isn't the dad joke that I was telling you last week about. So hold on for that for next week. So
oh, this dad should I buckle in? All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Anyway, pardon me. This dad joke is from Talena Panzenhagen.
Good job.
Yes?
Wow. Good job.
I think so. I feel good about it.
Yeah.
All right. Here's Talena's joke. Do you know how bees fly in the rain?
No, I don't, Terry. How do bees fly in the rain?
They wear their yellow jackets. All right, Todd, let's hear it, man. All right. Before we jump in further, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We are always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2, the number 2, Regular Guys, with all your show ideas. And if you're listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all your industry friends so they can become regulators too. And we would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Podcast, wherever you do your podcast listening. It's very, very helpful to Aaron and myself and Eric if you guys go out there and give us some reviews. And if you're watching us live right now, please join in with your comments and your questions.
Absolutely. And looking forward to having a group conversation with Lori here coming up. And in fact, Emma says, looking forward to hearing from Lori, as are we, Emma. So we will not delay much longer here, but I want to just say good morning. And also got Amanda just in time for the dad jokes. Amanda is a big fan of the dad jokes. In fact, I think she's even given us some in the past. So Amanda, if you've got more, send them our way. Jan, good morning to you. And Michelle, good morning to you. Who else I saw? Oh, and Terry Todd did not disappoint. So he says, I'm going to be buzzing all day from that one. So, all right. Yeah. And then he said, I was going to make a honey joke, but I thought it would be weird calling you honey. So, okay. Well, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's actually get to Lori here. So we're just going to, without further ado, Terry, I think is the best way to go. Does that sound good to you?
Let's jump in.
All right. Well, we want to welcome in Lori. In the past, we might have shared a full bio to kind of bring our guests in and realize that's not just who the two regular guys are, right? We like a good conversation. So instead, Lori, to start us off, welcome in. Who the heck is Lori? Tell us about you.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, all you regulators out there, Aaron, Terry, and everyone in your crew. I'm Lori Champagne. I'm an engraver. I engrave things that other shops won't touch, generally speaking.
Nice.
I've had a lot of weird things in my past that whoa, that's not good sounding. I have had a lot of professions in my life. Maybe not either, but I used to build Muppets for Jim Henson when he was still alive. I was a purser on a cruise ship. I've run a nonprofit. I've scooped ice cream. I've just had a wonderful assortment of careers through my life, but I've been doing this now for about, oh my goodness, 28 years or so.
Okay. All right. Awesome. And I love all the background there. You've got it. You've got it all. The Lady MacGyver. I'm excited to learn more.
All right. Well, Lori, sounds like you've done a lot of creative things in your past. Can you share with the regulators any unique creative strategies that you've developed along the way?
Well, the first rule is there's no rules. I tell my customers, come up with what your dream vision is. Don't worry if it's feasible or not. If you want a sign that floats in the middle of the air, then that's what your dream is, and we will work to make that happen. Yeah. Start with whatever your imagination comes up with, and then we will pare it down and try to figure out how we're going to do it and how we're going to achieve it. Don't go by price. Don't go by materials. Just go by what's your gut telling you at that moment. And just start from there. Yeah. And don't be afraid to change it as it goes along, because it will evolve. That's the way projects go.
Yeah, yeah. That's so powerful. You know, when you're creative, again, a lot of times the reasons why not get in the way, and you just gave us all permission to go, nope, we don't need to worry about that. That's because as humans, we're really good at that. We can find every reason why things won't work, but I think the true creative process is to find the reasons why it will work. Do you find that in your experience?
Absolutely. I used to do improv, and the whole theory behind improv is yes and that's how you should create things. And a glass of wine doesn't hurt at all either. But yes, and what else can we do to make this thing cool?
Wow. Cool. Very cool. That's such a good thing. In fact, Jerry Dyke says so much to unpack there. Yeah, really good stuff.
You know, Aaron, when you were sales manager at US Screen and I came in as the new sales guy, I think I said that to you. But Aaron, there are no rules.
I do recall that, and I remember going, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be the long." No, the fact that I got to quote unquote be Terry's boss, that was took some creativity. We'll leave it at that.
I don't play well with others.
Yeah,
no, it was fun. Todd did say, "Great, now I want Muppets of Terry, Aaron, and Eric." So we may be in that process here.
Be like a crossover episode. I love it.
Yeah, indeed. And Betty joined in saying, yeah, wine never hurts the creative process. So totally true. Okay. Well, Lori, so you and I get to be a part of Start Here Academy together. There's a wonderful bio on the webpage for you there. And one of the notes in there is that you were featured on the front page of the Wall Street Journal in an article for excellence in creativity. And obviously a very incredible achievement. So congratulations to you there.
Thank you.
I guess, you know, to me, that almost feels like you've reached the pinnacle, right? In a little bit of a way. So how do you continue to kind of foster that creativity, that innovation in every day, you know, going forward? How do you continue that process forward?
Well, it's not one mountain that you climb. It's a mountain range, and you get to explore the different peaks as you go along. Creativity comes in every little thing that you can do. Please stay away from Comic Sans. Please stay away from Arial as fonts, and just come up with fonts that make things. Oh no, change everything.
I got to write that down. Hold
on. But you want
He's writing it down in Arial. So.
Sorry. So long as it's not Comic Sans, we're good. But I actually did pull that the other day for something because it just screamed out for it. But creativity is just something that happens every day, no matter what it is. And it's up to us as the personalization specialists, as I like to refer to our whole grouping of people
Yeah.
to give that to our customers. Our customers will come in and they will only want a straight block font on things. But if you show them something more beautiful, then they'll go, oh, yeah, that will work. And that holds true whether it's just a little tiny sign that you put on something or a giant 8-foot piece of wood that they're putting across a mantle. It's just, you just talk with the individual. I had probably about a 45-minute conversation yesterday with someone just about a bench, a sign that she wants on a bench because she's just getting started. She doesn't have the bench. Maybe it's going to be a rock. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. So I gave her all sorts of different ideas. And like I said earlier, I said, don't worry about price. She gave me her budget. Her budget was fine. So I said, don't worry about price. Go with what your heart tells you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's so impactful. And like, because you kind of brought in that that label of personalized, right? A personalized community here. But I think sometimes we forget that that doesn't just mean the thing that we're making, that thing's personalized. It's also the service. It's also how you uniquely work with each individual client for their unique individual needs. Does that bring a lot of creativity your way?
Indeed, it does. And it's okay to tell your customer, maybe that's not the best idea. It's okay if they come in with a really bad idea and you know it's going to be bad, to let them know, hey, this just isn't going to work real well for you. What would happen if we did this and we did that and we just tweaked a little bit to make it a little better? I used to always send out, I've been in the business, like I said, for about 28 years. And early on, I would always send people 3 layouts. I would send them a really plain, boring one. I would send them something kind of medium-ish and still nice, but still kind of sedate. And then I'd send them something joyful. And inevitably, people would go, well, I really love the joyful one, but I don't want to offend anyone. So I'm going to go with the boring one just because everyone will be okay with that. And it took me a few years, but I finally learned, don't send the boring one. Send the creative. And yes, I do get stuck in a rut with some fonts, that these are my favorite fonts. Currently Gabriola is one of my favorite, and Black Chancery is my new one that I just love using on things because it's not quite a script, it's not quite a block, but it's got a lot of life to it, but it's legible. But the creativity just comes in talking with the person. You can't just have them come in and just go, I want this, this, and this, and then they go away. You have to talk with them a little bit and go, well, what is this for? Who are you giving it to? Is it an older person or a younger person? If it's a younger person, and I hate to say this, but it's true, you can't use a connecting script font because they can't read it anymore. You have to be aware of who your audience is and what is it going for.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing an earn, I do a lot of earns around here, but I try to keep a font that will be nice and a layout that, will be beautiful for them to look at.
Yeah. Wow.
Is Comic Sans retro now, though, that people want to go back to? Because I'm thinking
Not
my earn,
yet.
I think I'd like that Comic Sans.
Terry's earn's going to have Comic Sans on it. I can see it now.
Just for you, I'll do that.
Oh, that's so good.
Well, Lori, in your Start Here Academy bio, it talks about you making that transition from a successful retail shop in California to a home-based studio in Michigan. So what were the unique challenges that were created from going from retail to home-based business?
Yeah.
Not to
And
mention,
Lori, we're going to take a left turn without even signaling. So that's the way the 2 regular guys go. So
that's good. I can deal.
Okay.
All right. So not only did I have to deal with that, but I had to go from 2 seasons, t-shirt and sweatshirt, to, oh my God, 4 seasons. So there were a lot of changes. Absolutely the best decision I could have possibly made was going to a home-based studio here. I am very fortunate. My husband we are living on 7 acres of land here, so I have a completely separate building from the house,
Nice.
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it is mine. It is decorated as I want it to be, and everything in here I have placed in a particular position. as per going from what I had to here, when I moved, I packed up my 6 foot by 6 foot by 8 foot crate with whatever would fit in it. And that was pretty much all my personal stuff, and moved. I did not bring any machinery. I did not bring anything. I thought when I came here, I was going to be boring and live a boring life and do only nameplates and name tags because they were simple. And that's just not what happened.
And then on day 2.
Yes. Yeah. But it was wonderful to come to a home-based type situation, because when I had my shop in the San Diego area, it was a storefront. I even had the little neon light that you turned on and off to say open and close.
Nice.
It was a real store with real neighbors and real parking lot. And that meant I had to have real hours. And if I wanted to go on vacation, I had to go, oh, I'm shutting down the shop, or oh gosh, I'm leaving the employees in charge, or I had to do something, of that nature. Now that I'm home based, I have a lot of regular customers, and I send out a monthly email, which I finally just got out this morning, and I let them know what my vacation days are going to be that month, and I can set my own hours. I work only by appointment here, which is fantastic. And one of my favorite things that I have put into our property is I put a driveway bell. I don't know what this thing would be called, but if someone comes into our driveway, it trips the ringer. And I didn't even turn it off before we started, so it could possibly go off, but that tells me somebody has come onto property, which is huge because I don't have a window facing forward. Absolutely one of the best things I ever did around here.
Is it one of those little ding, 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 like when you walk in the general store?
It's close, and I wish I had that sound. It's actually something like the Lone Ranger or something like that. And then it was so good here, we decided to put one down by the lake. So now every time the deer go by at the lake, it rings as well. So
that's cool.
Not as useful, but different sound, so I know where it's coming from.
But awesome. That's so cool. So great nuggets already coming out, and we're getting some people kind of sharing things that they've taken away so far here. Jerry says, oh my gosh, I'd not thought about younger folks not being able to read script. We actually had a conversation.
Let me interrupt there. How are these people ever going to sign for a mortgage? I mean, they don't know how to sign their name in cursive.
When my great grandfather came over from the old country, he signed with a letter X, and that's
what they'll do too.
Yes, there will be thousands of letter X's all over the place. But I mean, they're usually good enough. They can figure out how to do their own signature. They just print it. I mean, no one ever said that a signature had to be cursive.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Well, my handwriting was always so terrible, and so cursive was never. So even me today, I was having this conversation with my wife and my 11-year-old last night, actually, going, if it has the letters of my name in it, I could probably do it. But beyond that, I don't really do it. I don't use it anymore. So anyhow, that's really interesting. And then Todd mentioned, I love adding hours to the newsletter. That's certainly a perk of the home-based business, but making sure that people are aware of that, and then they're good with it. And if not, they're not your customer.
And that's not a bad thing necessarily. There are some customers that you need to fire every so often. If they're causing you more grief than money they are bringing in, you don't need it.
It's okay to let go of that. All right. And then Emma's on her way, Lori. So just so you know, so the ringer will go off.
Oh, Emma, don't even get into me with that.
Well,
does anybody go buy it and back up and go buy it and back up just to make it a little crazy? Because that's something I would do.
It absolutely is. That's why I can never put that in my house. Terry would be here all the time, just going back and forth. All right.
Here, I'm not here. Here, I'm not here.
So, Lori, I do want to continue on this path of talking about the home-based business. What are some common misconceptions that maybe you've heard or myths about running a successful home-based business that you've heard out there that maybe you can dispel for us?
Okay. Well, the first one that comes to mind is you're not a real business. You're not a real shop. No. You are a real business, whether you're at home or you're in an office building or wherever you are. If you are producing things and you are making money, that qualifies as a business.
Yes.
So that's out.
Amen.
Another thing is, if keeping peace in the house, you can keep peace and still have your business located in your house. One of the guys who I do business with, I do a lot of business with other engraving shops. If they can't, if they don't want to touch something, it usually ends up over here, and that's how I end up engraving coconuts and weird things like that. But he's been running a business out of his basement, I would guess at least 20, 30 years. And he still has a regular job, but just runs this. And this weekend, I think he's shut in for the whole weekend because he's doing something like 500 plaques for a car show or something like that.
Wow.
That's a real business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that doesn't qualify. Other things, I guess. I don't know. What kinds of myths have you guys heard? Because I don't hear myths because I just don't listen to that.
I think that's a lot of internal of entrepreneurs where, you know, they think, well, I'm working from home. What I'm doing doesn't have value, that sort of thing. But I will say on the flip side of that, I think that COVID made it much more acceptable to not only the entrepreneur, but the customer to be home-based, because I couldn't tell you how many people who've said to me, you know, we had to shut down the brick and mortar pre-COVID. I'm not going back. I'm staying right where I am. I like working from my shop, you know, out here on the property. I like working from the shop I built in my garage. So I think part of that went away just because of COVID.
Yep. Yeah, and whenever I teach a class with GPX or with words and personalization, I always start by just surveying the audience, and it is just astounding how many people are working out of their home. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to graduate to a real business. No. You're fine if you just stay where you're at.
Yeah.
And I tell my students also when I teach screen printing class, you know, your customers don't care if you work in your basement, but they want you to present yourself as a professional. That's two different things, you know. Don't act like you work in a basement. Act like you're a professional. They don't care where that happens.
Yeah.
And even more so, if the quality of your work is good, they don't care if it comes out of a cave. If it's on time and it looks right and it looks good, that's all they care about.
Yeah.
What I heard there was do good work, deliver on time, Aaron. Is that what you heard?
Yeah, that's Terry's favorite. And honestly, Laura, you to me uncovered the number one myth, and we do hear that all the time. Oh, if you're not, you know, trying to, like you said, graduate, baloney. Your business can be exactly what you want it to be, wherever you want it to be, and like you mentioned, your customers don't care if it's a cave under a bridge, as long as you're providing good quality products. So that's fantastic. Well, let's dive into some of the comments from the regulators here, because I think, you know, these are maybe some myths or things that we can cover. So Andy says, I've had people say they won't pay X amount because I work out of my house, right? Kind of extremely frustrating, right? It's like, how would you handle something like that?
Well, if they're shopping around, they're probably looking for the lowest cost anyways. Potentially, they're just flat out lying to you so that they can get a lower price. Not worth your time.
Yeah.
Totally not worth your time. And there's been another weird thing with coming into a home-based business versus out there, or maybe it's a California versus Michigan thing. I get tipped all the time. It is just the darndest thing. You know, we agree upon a price with someone, they go out, they come back whenever they come back and it's done, and they tip me.
That's awesome.
I'm like, how does that happen?
That's
I'll come back to that later on, because I think you might have a question later on.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Definitely want to talk about that, because I find it interesting too. Yeah. Right. Because the other thing I think happens is, you know, we might feel like we're less because of this whole myth of I've got to have a storefront to be a real business, and therefore we show up kind of sharing that, you know, maybe our stuff's not worth as much as somebody else's. So if we were to flip that script and talk about, you know, the value, when price becomes the lowest common denominator of what the value is of working with you, then you've got to change your message, I would say. So what's your take on that, Lori?
Most certainly. If you are going right back to it, if you are putting out that quality work and it is on time, your pricing should be quite commensurate with other shops that have to pay rent and have, for whatever reason, decided they want to pay an additional rent.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
it's your work is worth just the same. It's no difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Terry, we've got a couple of other questions from the regulators, but I kind of highlighted those. So I know we've got a couple other things we want to get to with Lori, and then if we have some time, we'll come back to that. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well,
So-
I'll let you take the next turn for us then, Terry.
Okay, very good. So we know you like giving back to the community. It's a big part of who you are. Talk to us a little bit about that part of your business concept and what drives that for you.
Okay, so my main philanthropy here is youth and education. Anything that has to do, if someone comes in and they're doing something education related with kids, they get a wonderful price on things, because we've got to encourage the kids to, you know, be smarter and to do stuff like that. Sports, not so much. There are plenty of people who will donate towards sports. But to go back to the tipping, my rule around here is if you tip me more than $5, I will double that and donate it to your favorite non-political charity. And this has been wonderful because it's increased my charitable giving. I think last year I probably gave out about $5,000 worth to various charities around, and charities I never would have. Someone suggested Locks for Love, which is, you know, you cut your hair, you give them your hair, and they make a wig for someone with cancer.
Right.
And I have cut off my hair, and see it's short now.
Me too.
And I knew it. And I never thought of giving to them monetarily. So that was fantastic. And people like to know that you are giving back to the community, and that's fantastic. And usually, quite frankly, if they tip me, you know, $5 or $10, I'll usually bring it up to $25 or $50 just because, you know, it's just easier to donate a nicer sum. But I help out. If you come and you ask me for something, and hopefully this isn't being played too much in the Metro Detroit area, I will usually donate, whether it's an item for a raffle or an auction or whatever it may be for. But giving back to the community comes back to you in the long run. And it might not necessarily come back in customers, but I'm a firm believer in karma.
Yeah.
And it does come back around. I have always found that the more that I give, the more money that I make.
That's awesome. That's
one
awesome.
of those universal things. I don't know.
Yep. 100%. I actually had a mentor of mine one time. He was offering to do something for me, and I was trying to figure out how I could quote unquote pay him for it. And he just bluntly said to me, "Aaron, you can't outgive the universe." And I was like, "Oh, that's okay. Yep. I get it."
I get that. I had a customer who really helped me get through the downturn in 2008 because it was a regular huge order that took me hours each night. But I asked him, you know, as the downturn was slowing down or speeding, whatever direction it would go, I said, what do you support so I can support it as well? And he was a part of Rotary and would go down with Smile Train, and their organization was actually 1,000 Smiles, and they'd go down to Ensenada, Mexico 4 times a year and offer free dental care and operate on kids with cleft palates. So I became a part of the organization, and I would go down 4 times a year and help out. You know, Lord knows I am not a dentist and don't ever know, but helping out with the management and the running of it and just making sure things are running smoothly, it worked out great. And I was able to give back to him by helping what he believed in.
Awesome. That's wow. Thank you, Lori, for sharing all that. And hopefully regulators out there get it, right? There's a certain level to that. So, well, let's hit one of these questions from the regulators real quick, Terry, and then
Sure.
I know we've got a couple more questions for Lori too before we let her out of here. And this has already been like just full of gold nuggets, so let's keep that roll. Let's go to Rena here. So you were talking a little bit earlier about, you know, it's okay to let go of some customers from time to time, and she says the power of firing your customers. Teach me the way. What's your strategy?
All right. I have one particular customer that okay, I can't let her go. I have known her since I was a small child. She is a pain in the butt. There's another shop that she was working with, and they decided they did not want her anymore. So every time she calls, they go, "Oh, we don't do that anymore. We don't make signs. No, I don't make name tags." And I'm like, no, you can't quite do it that way.
I love it.
It's a tough thing, and it's really just sort of on a case by case basis. And sometimes you just got to be straight and just go, I just don't think I am able to provide you the kind of service that you deserve. You know, you can block their phone calls too. You don't even have to deal with them. But it's a tough thing. It really is, because you don't want to put out bad product, because most of what we make, and I assume you guys too with apparel, your customer is not the end user. Your customer is then going to distribute it among other people. So it's, you don't want to ruin something that's actually going to somebody else. And you certainly don't want to ruin anything anyways. It's just bad juju. But it's, you can be a little bit slower on getting things done. You can recommend, hey, I know someone else who does this really well, but make sure it's not a friend.
Yeah.
Yes. There's just, it's tough to fire a customer because they've probably gone through a lot of other shops and they don't want to keep looking,
Yeah.
It's tough. It's a case by case. I'm sorry that there's not instructions for how to
Not a
on
manual.
that.
Yeah. But like you said, I know I've referred a lot of people to competitors that maybe weren't my favorite. Put that in your lap for a little bit. Awesome. All right. And this doesn't necessarily relate, but Jan had a comment a little earlier that I wanted to share when we were talking about the creative, kind of the good, better, best that you had mentioned. She said, love this. One of my sales secrets is always included engaging the client in the creative process. Good, better, best. Good thing to be known as a creative person sometimes is what Jan had said a little earlier there. So yeah, I think your point about, again, we're changing lanes without signaling. So what else is in there that we want to share? Or I guess, Terry, you've got another question. Why don't we go there next?
I every time I hear good, better, best, I would think of Sears, and so that will go away at some point in time. People will say, I don't know what you're referring to. But well, let's go back to your bio again at Start Here Academy. You mentioned that you're a longtime member of Toastmasters. So how do you use those skills, that experience in your current position, your current entrepreneurial endeavors?
All right. Toastmasters and doing improv, two sides of the same skill. Learning how to speak publicly, learning how to formulate your answers, and trying your best to speak without ahs and ums. Toastmasters has been fantastic for me. I've served in leadership positions in it, as well as just being a member. It's for those of you who don't know, Toastmasters is an organization. It's worldwide, and it teaches you leadership skills and speaking skills. They are currently shifting gears a little bit. When I first joined more than 20 years ago, it was a little bit more about storytelling, which is the thing that I enjoy most. And now they're going more so toward the business and leadership styles and so forth. But it's still a good organization to be a part of if you find yourself stumbling over words and going or as they call it in French, I think, l'esprit d'escalier, the spirit of the staircase. It means like you had a conversation, you're headed downstairs, you're leaving the building, and then it comes to you what you should have said. So it helps you out a lot with that. Improv adds on to that and feeds the creativity. So with improv, you're not real in improv, like improv comedy, and most people can find an improv group in their local towns. And that's not so much about ahs and ums as it is about just thinking outside the box. And the more you do the verbal improv, the more you can do the creative improv with what you are creating for your customers as well.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now I needed to go sign up for Toastmasters and the improv club and get rid of all the ums and ahs.
but know with Toastmasters, every group is different.
Sure.
And some groups are very business oriented, and everyone's going to show up in their jackets and ties and looking all together and everything. And some groups are more laid back and more relaxed. And so if you are interested in something like Toastmasters, go to different groups and you'll find one that works for you.
Awesome. Awesome. Look at that, you guys. Great information there. Okay. So I want to ask you, Lori, another question we got from one of the regulators here, Jerry. And this is going back to talking about, having a home-based business. She asks, how do you keep your time separate, the work versus life, the elusive work-life balance?
There is no balance.
Yeah, that's the myth, right? Yeah.
And that is true. I mean, when your commute to work is walking down the driveway, it really makes it tough. My husband has a busy work life as well, and we have a lot of respect for one another as that regards that. There is never, ever between either one of us a complaint of, oh, you're spending too much time at work, because we understand we wouldn't be doing that if we didn't feel we had to.
Yeah.
I do take a lot of vacations. I am very blessed in that. We just came back from Antarctica, which, see it before it melts. It was a marvelous, marvelous place. We're doing Galapagos next year. I'm heading to San Diego in, 5 days? I'm looking at the calendar here. In about 5 days. I do leave town a lot, and that's good. And I don't turn off the phone. I still answer my phone while I'm gone. But when your business is home-based, it really does become a large part of everything you are. But on the other hand, it also makes it easy to just run down to the office, at 7 o'clock, put in like a half an hour of work and go back. And it makes it easier for you to leave during the day to do other things. Yeah. I bowl during the day. Not every day, I wish, but I bowl once a week in a league. And so I close the door, I walk out and I bowl, I come back and I work. It's so much easier to juggle having a home-based business as opposed to having a storefront, because you can manipulate the time. But yeah, it does creep in everywhere. And I know a lot of people turn off their phones, and I just don't.
Yeah,
I answer stupid questions and I wonder why people are up at 11 o'clock thinking about what they want to engrave on their Yetis, but it's what people do.
Yeah.
And if I need at night, I can turn off the phone if I want to.
Sure.
So
sure. I love that too, because I do think that is definitely a big myth, is that there's this, holy grail of balance that we have to have. And so you're going to work 8 hours, you're going to, sleep 8 hours, and it's never like that. It's balance, meaning, are you fulfilled in all areas? And sometimes that means you're going to have to put in a little bit more time at work. You're going to have to answer the phone in the middle of the night to talk about an engraving question from somebody at 11. But at the same time, like you said, you also then have that balance to come back. And I want to go bowling during the middle of the day. Guess what? As a home-based business, I get to do that. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I think also that part of the balance situation too is that person that has that 9 to 5, and I'm just trying to get through the week, and they're looking for balance because I don't want to be over here anymore. I think it's a lot different for an entrepreneur, because you're an entrepreneur because you're doing what you love to do.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
And the other thing I found is, if I want to do something, if my husband and I want to do something together, it's got to hit the calendar. If we just go, oh yeah, we should go out to the apple orchard and go apple picking, that's just not going to happen. But if you throw it on the calendar a month or two in advance, it's on. Yep, exactly. Phone.
Yep.
So it will get done, and you will do it. You have enough time to do everything. And I know you don't have enough time to do everything, but guess what? You have enough time.
Yeah.
You just got to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so cool, because that always leads me into this. Everybody thinks we have a time management problem, but the reality is we all have the same 24 hours. So what we actually have is a priority management problem.
Yeah.
And so utilizing your calendar to put the priorities on there is such a great tool. I love that.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, as Jerry said, great information today. Thank you so much. We still got a little bit more for you before we let you go, though. So we were lucky enough to get connected through Start Here Academy. And so thank you so much for joining us here today to add even more to our community. With that being about a month away, what's something that you're looking forward to most about that event coming up? What is it? June 14th, I believe.
Yeah.
Getting done with my presentation, like writing it. I have my notes.
June 14th.
Yes, that's going to be part of heading out to California. I'll work on it there. But I just love going out and seeing what's new in the industry, talking with people, hearing what different people do. My favorite part of teaching classes when I do is getting there about a half an hour before my class starts and just talking with the people in the audience, finding out what they do. As people come into my classes, although this will be different because we're doing it as a presentation, in the evening. But when I teach my classes, as people come into the room, I introduce myself to them, and at the beginning of my talks, usually I will have everyone go around the room, unless there's like 200 people, and introduce themselves, who you are, where you're from, and what do you specialize in. And that gives me an idea of what I'm going to talk about and who I'm going to aim things at, and pull people and pull comments from the audience and see if it gels. Because the great and the difficult thing about GPX is you have people like you guys who do more apparel. You have people who do sublimation. You have people who do engraving. You have people who do wraps. You have people who do all sorts of different things. So you need to make your comments fit a more universal theme as opposed to specific things about engraving. But even the specific things, can help out with other shops, other types of shops. Like I talk a lot about how to organize your shop. And I know it looks kind of scattered back there and stuff, but there's labels on things, and
nice.
I have a good idea of where everything is.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's awesome. Cool. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. Now, for whatever reason, they've said that they're going to give me a microphone and I get to stand up there and talk to all these people. So if you have questions that you want to know before, just let me know, because that's a great way to kind of get people involved. I don't think we're going to be able to get everybody to share around the room. So the last Start Here Academy, there was about 450 people in the room. So we'll see how we do this time around. But
it's interesting you say that, though, because when I do my screen printing classes, the very first thing I do after kind of introducing myself is, here's the hardest part of class. Everybody gets to public speak, and people fear public speaking more than death. But so you're just going to coach from here. Tell me who you are, where you're from, and why you're here in class. And that gives me the groundwork for the next 2 days of who to talk to and what to talk to them about. So I love that. It was almost word for word what I say in class as well.
I love it. Well, all right. Well, we'll try it, Lori. I don't know.
I think
we'll start 3 hours early.
That's right. So if you're signed up for Start Here Academy, join Lori and I there about 2-3 hours early, and then we'll get to know each other.
Bring cookies.
It's
bring
like
chocolate
college
cookies.
graduation. You're like, oh man, they're only in the C's.
But yes, as Lori said, if you bring chocolate chip cookies, we will move you to the front of the line. So
all right. Well, Aaron, do you have any more questions, or are we gonna?
I think we're good. I mean, we could be here all day with Lori, and I'm really excited for Lori's presentation. I know that it's going to be awesome. I know you're going to work on it, but with your improv skills too, you could just show up and do it tomorrow. So I'm not really worried about it.
Just keep saying yes.
Yep.
So Lori, tell people where they can find you, how they connect. How they can connect with you.
Okay, I'm old. There's a lot of gray hairs up here, so I'm not that super social media. But if you go to engraving.pro, I guess www.engraving.pro. Oh, look at that. It's on the screen. That's nice. It will probably link you to my Facebook page, and you can just sort of see some of the cool stuff that I've done over time.
Really cool
and Lori at engraving.pro is the email address. What else? You can look me up. Champagne Engraving is the name of the company, and I'm located in the Metro Detroit area.
That's awesome. And
By
then
appointment only.
Jan asked, Lori, will you be at GPX Long Beach?
Okay, so Reagan hasn't told me I will be there or I won't. However, my mother would appreciate it because she's in San Diego. That's why I'm heading out there. So I don't have a definite yay or nay on that yet.
But it's efforting. Efforting is happening right now.
And you just can't say no to Southern California. It's just a beautiful time out there always, and where all my friends are and stuff. Not that I don't have friends here.
Good point. Very good point. Awesome. Hey, Lori, thank you so much for all of your time here today, all the great information. If you want to hear more from Lori, make sure that you join us over there at the Start Here Academy. It is happening on June 14th, so the day before GPX Indianapolis opens up. If you will go to osg.link/SHA, that'll give you all the information. You can register. It's completely free. No charge to attend this amazing event. And I maybe speaking out of turn, but I think they might even feed us. It's too good to be true almost, it feels like, but it really is true. So.
And also the GPX has put up videos that I've done, just little tricks and tips for engraving and for your shop. So look on their website too.
All right. Well, we'll try to get that into our show notes as well. So that's great. Thank you, Lori. Lori, really appreciate the time. Thank you so much for being here with us
fun.
today.
Thanks, guys.
I'll see you in June.
Lori.
Yay.
All right. Good deal.
Fantastic.
Terry, that was fun. And man, just like watching the comments and all of the, that's great. All the gold nuggets. This is why I love what we do, Terry. This is, it gets me pretty darn excited.
and new faces, new voices on the show as well. Because as we knock on the door of 500.
Yep, that's true. I think this is 497, if I remember correctly. So sometime before GPX Start Here Academy there, we will have had our 500th episode. So stay tuned coming up. We're excited about that. Terry, you just had your calendar held up there. Where does the Big Book of Travel say you're going to be?
Terry's Big Book of Travel. I am going to be right here in Phoenix on June 3rd and 4th at Workhorse Products doing my complete screen printing business course. I'm going to be doing that same class the following weekend in Chicago. I will be at Atlas Screen Supply up in Schiller Park, right by the airport in Chicago, June 10th and 11th. And all my upcoming events you can find at terrycombs.com. I see Eric is feverishly adding to his outline. I wish people could see this as we go.
Yeah, good. Well, I'll just quickly share. Fortunately, I'm done traveling for just a little bit, so that's good. Nice. I get to take a breather and get settled back in before I'm back on the road again in June. So right now I'm working on the Mastermind program, the Masters of Success Plus. So if you want to check that out, if you're somebody that wants to build a community, have maybe you've got a community and you'd like to add a little extra to it to really bring some accountability, some just group support. The power of Mastermind to me is like just incredibly invaluable. So if you'll head over to mosmasterminds.com, you can check that out. The other thing that I'm working on that I'd like to share is I've got Skills USA coming up right after, the week after we'll be out in Indianapolis. So if you are going to be in the Atlanta area, would like to help support, Lori talked about how supporting young people was a big cause for her. It's also for me. And this is an opportunity to support those young people. Go check out skillsusa.org to see what it's all about. But I'm in charge of the sublimation competition and could always use any help and support, prizes, donations of equipment and supplies to use. Already have gotten great response from some folks. Epson's stepped up. We've got Stahl's stepping up, talking to some other folks. Artistry has stepped up. So already got some Caesar and got some judges already ready to help. So definitely getting a lot of help, but we can always use more. So just reach out to me, Aaron at tworegularguys.com. And we can talk about how you might be able to support the sublimation competition and anything else going on over at Skills. I think it's a fantastic organization. So that's what's happening for me. Terry, I think we're ready. What's Eric got happened today?
Eric, you done, Eric? Okay. Today's take up is, pardon me, episode number 150 all about stock embroidery fonts and assets. I don't know if they do Comic Sans as one of the fonts, but apparently don't.
There will not be any Comic Sans. I can guarantee you that, knowing Eric.
It says we'll talk about what they are, aren't, can do, and can't. Head over to Eric Campbell, Eric with an H, ericcampbell.com, and click on the Take Up tab at the top of it, and join live at 2:30 Mountain Daylight Time, because I'm in Mountain Standard. Anyway, it's an hour behind Aaron in Central Time.
It's just say 3:30 center of the universe time. Everybody gets it.
1:30 out here where we don't do daylight savings time. So
4:30 if you're on the East Coast.
Campbell.com.
Yeah, definitely check that out, ericcampbell.com. One more quick thing about Eric. If you'll jump right over to either, if you go to ericcampbell.com, you can also find where we do the half, which happens right here after this program. And Eric and I will be back together for the half. We've done a couple of solo episodes and other things like that. But Eric and I will finally be back together today to do the Take Up. Terry, we do a little recap of what we talked about.
You're probably going to be doing the half, but...
Yeah. Well, when it's just one of us, it's the quarter, but it's odd. But
no, you said we're going to be doing the Take Up.
I just was reading the Take Up. That's why. Okay. All right. So editor, go ahead. No, we're not going to fix that. That's the way 2 regular guys go. So it's called the half.
All of the listeners about everything that we're talking about.
Come find us. Go over to liveosg.com. That'll take you to the YouTube page, or you can find it over at our Success Group Pro on Facebook, and they'll be streaming live from there in about a half hour from now. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys over there and to chat a little bit more. All right, Terry. Well, I think we've done it. I think we've come to the close of another show. Thanks again so much to Lori Champagne for joining us today, and all of the wonderful information. I'm super excited to get to meet her face to face out there in Indianapolis. So please come join us out there at osg.link/SHA Start Here Academy. And I appreciate Lori's time today, Terry.
Absolutely. We also want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, and for all the sitting in you did over the past several weeks as well.
Producer, co-host, manager. Yeah, all of it.
Thanks, Eric. We certainly appreciate everything you do for the show.
Absolutely, Eric. Thank you so much. So, Terry, next week, we've got a good friend of ours, Johnny Schell, who's formerly of back in the SGIA days, but now with a company called Keypoint Intelligence. And he's going to be joining us to talk about the 2021 to 2026 DTG and digital textile forecast. So every time we've had Johnny on, we've always learned so much, and he's such a deep technical guy too. So you're going to get a lot of value out of learning from Johnny next week. So I can't wait to welcome him back. We haven't had him since he's kind of been in this new role of his. So I'm excited to talk to him.
Exactly right. We might have to reminisce a little bit, because I'm trying to remember how many decades I've known Johnny. Not years, decades.
Decades. All right. Well, we'll try to pin that down next week. So join us back here at 10 a.m. Central Time next week. Terry, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too as well. So until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the 2 regular guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to 2 Regular Guys. Check out our website at 2regularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/2regularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/2regularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, 2regularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.